how do I choose, right? So I'm an entrepreneur who is really busy. I'm focused on building my business. I have a bunch of cash in my savings account. And then instead, like, I start having people either reach out to me or I'm think, hey, maybe I should figure this out a little bit. How do I still choose, right? Because it is a big deal to hand over your cash to someone. And then you hear about all these, Ponzi schemes that happen and people and all these things that occur. And man, that seems pretty scary. If this is not my area of expertise, which is almost by definition not, right? I'm an entrepreneur in something else. It's not my area of expertise to plan my money. Otherwise, I build a financial firm like yours. So that sounds really scary to give someone else the keys to this kingdom that is going to support my family.
I ask a question when I meet with somebody the first time, why is money important to you? 99 times out of 100, I get a story about family or this, but 1 out of 100, somebody will come back to me and say, why is money important to you? I always tell folks why money is important to me is because it allows me to build a company, provide for my family, and live this one-of-a-kind life in Puerto Rico. Now, money being important to me also means that taxes are the biggest expense you have in your life. I'm going to try to pay the least amount I can legally pay, right? So if I'm going to tell you taxes are the big expense, and I'm going to try to help you reduce yours, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you that I have a retirement income plan. I'm going to show you I have an investment plan that aligns with who I am. I'm going to show you how long-term care and healthcare is taken care of for you, and I'll show you my will and trust. The thing I will show people is if somebody asks me, why is money important to you? I'll be like, hey, I'm going to ask you all about your finances, but since you've asked me that question, you know what else you should ask me in this process? And they're always like, what? I'm going to be like, after I ask you your financials, you should ask to see mine. And people just they're blown away by that. Because your listeners that are listening here, they've worked with financial people before. Nobody ever thinks to ask the financial professional, tell me about your finances. Are you in debt? Do you have retirement savings? Is what you're telling me to do what you have done for your situation? I give, if somebody asks me about mine, I'll show them my personal financial statement. I'll show them my Fidelity account. I'll show them my protection products. I'll show them my tax return. And I remind people, right? If you're 70 years old, I'm in my 40s, so if you're 70, you can't judge me on what you've accumulated if you've got more than me. You've got to accumulate when you were 40, did you have this? And do you feel comfortable that my financial position is strong enough that I will not put you at risk as a client?
That is a great question, and it's shocking that more people don't ask. Do you find or imagine that a lot of financial planners who are out there giving this advice don't have aren't following their own advice, number one. And then number two, how important is it for them to follow their own advice? And so what I mean, just to play devil's advocate here a little bit, right? The usual probably saying is you go to your doctor, the doctor gives you advice, don't smoke, don't drink, and then they go at night and go have a cigarette and have alcohol. They're giving you great advice. They just have trouble following it themselves. That doesn't mean they're a bad doctor necessarily.
It means that they lack discipline. We've always heard the saying that the shoemaker's kids have the worst shoes, right? We've heard that, right? In the financial world, if a lot of financial professionals try to keep up with a higher level of lifestyle than what they are to try to attract that level. And what I see is I was on another podcast and somebody asked me a very similar question to this. And it was a financial advisor. I was doing their podcast and they said, well, I don't know if I have the money to do something like that. And it wasn't a big ask. I don't know that I had the money to do that. And then in the green room, after we were done, we were talking and I was like, tell me about your finances. And they're like, well, I live on every dollar I make. And that's not a good financial principle. It's bad. A lot of folks with their financial advisors, they just don't know where they are. Somebody who's struggling financially will make a bad decision. We all do. We'll either say putting something on this credit card will get me through to the next time. And a financial advisor, somebody who's giving advice, somebody's in a bad financial situation, you got to wonder, did they give me that advice because they needed the money that solution made? And when you work with somebody who you realize whether or not you say yes or no, they're going to be fine, eases a lot of tension in a financial relationship. That, let's be honest, it exists. Tension between the financial advisor and financial clients sometimes exists because you don't know how they actually get paid.